just dropped today. Joe Schmidt has named his 34-player squad for the upcoming Bledisloe Cup test matches. And the big news, the only news that anyone really cares about, is that despite flying to the UK just recently, James O'Connor has been named and will be flying back down south to rejoin the Wallabies. I know we're all confused about how the process came about, but I think we're all happy that they've landed on that result.
Oh, extremely happy. Did he actually go, or was this all just a set-up that he pretended? That
no, I saw pictures of him in southwest London.
I also heard there was some lab testing going on to see if we could just clone Rabs a few times so we could have multiple of him. That would have worked too. No, look, great news. Amazing that James O'Connor is going to be back. The start for the Wallabies in the last 5 test matches for when James is on the field and when he's not on the field, I think it's about plus 35 points when he's on the field and about minus.
So the Wallabies 4 and against.
Yeah. 4 and against.
Significantly
it's about a 50-point swing.
The field.
It's outrageous. So the more James O'Connor, the better for me. I hope he plays.
I think it's maybe he just really likes being on planes. I mean, when you get to sit at the front, if you get to sit at the front end, unfortunately, I never have had the opportunity. But when you get to sit at the front end, maybe you just really enjoy 50 hours
One day, Britt.
in a plane.
So James O'Connor coming back and being in this squad means that Ben Donaldson is the unlucky player that misses out. He's not listed in the unavailable for selection due to injury list. So there's 3 10s, James O'Connor, Tane Edmed, Tom Liner. Of those 3, Shep, who are you turning to for Bledisloe 1 in Auckland?
I would start with James O'Connor, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. Just on that note, I think if we'd started him last week against the Pumas, we would have won that game. But unfortunately,
you ever seen the movie Frozen?
I have.
You know the title song, Let It Go? Just let it go, Shep. Let it go.
Maybe one day. If we win the Bledisloe, I'll let it go.
You think we start with Rabs at Eden Park?
Absolutely, if he's available. Have to do it. You've already learnt that lesson the wrong way, the bad way twice, Joe. Please don't make it a third. And then I would put Tom Liner on the bench.
Okay. Not to tell you that you're wrong, because there is no wrong answer on that. But just to
I'm standing in Tim Horan's spot,
just to plug,
feel free to
just
let me know.
To plug inside line yesterday, Michael Hooper fully endorsed starting Tane Edmed again in the next test. So just interesting, the variance in opinion there. What about for you, Britt? Where are you going?
I think I lean with Shep in the sense that you start with JOC, you get James O'Connor in, get a good start, and then I wouldn't go Liner on the bench, actually, just purely because he's had a lot of injuries this year. Maybe keep him wrapped in some cotton wool, just make sure he gets through the rest of the year, and then go with Edmed. I don't think he had a disastrous game last week. Yes, there was some two really big blotches, but apart from those singular moments, he didn't cost the Wallabies that loss. I think he was solid enough. That 50-22, I think, was a good example that he has the heads-up rugby. He knows what he's doing. I think he does need some more minutes and just get some experience in those big moments.
Secondary to that is the return of Jake Gordon into the squad. So if Jake does get the nod at 9, obviously we know that Nick White now has retired, unless John Farnham does come back. The Gordon-Edmed combination is there, so that could help if Tane does start, the fact that you got Jake there. However, if they do decide to go with James O'Connor, does that mean that Tate McDermott now gets an opportunity to start for the first time in 2025 for the Wallabies? So I think that 9-10 combination is really going to be front of mind for Joe as he prepares for the Bledisloe 1.
Yeah, very interesting to see. In about a week's time, we'll see that first team named for the first test against New Zealand at Eden Park in Auckland. We're going to chat all about that with Jeff Wilson a little bit later on. Worth noting too that Will Skelton has not been named in the squad, so the chances, slim though they were, of him returning from France for the first test in Auckland, not happening. The door is still ajar, Shep, that he could be available for the second test. Whether that depends on Australia winning the first test in New Zealand and therefore the Bledisloe still being a live contest come the second test in Perth remains to be seen. But he's not going to be in Auckland.
Yeah, it's disappointing, isn't it? I would love to have seen him be able to play, but of course we understand. I guess the good news is we've been able to give Lenny Kitau and Nick Frost a good break. They're going to get, the equivalent of probably 2 full weeks of recovery. So they're coming back in fresh. And if we can get James back, at least we get one of them, Britt.
You know, I'm not too surprised that Skelton's not available. I think going over to France, it was always going to be a hard task getting him back. So I think we've already seen that the Wallabies locks in the back row, they haven't missed him too much, I would say. Yes, he was great in South Africa, but the last 2 games, I don't think we've watched and gone, wow, we really need him back.
Yeah,
so
we didn't get physically dominated as much as we did maybe that first test against the Lions where Skelton didn't play and it was clear and obvious.
Yeah.
You know what I don't prescribe to, though, is some people say, and I'm throwing you under the bus here a bit, Britt, I think you're one of them, but you're not alone. A lot of people go, well, if Australia lose the first test in New Zealand and the Bledisloe's gone for another year, don't bother getting Will back for a dead rubber. I completely disagree. We should be wanting to win that more than if the Bledisloe was still up for grabs, because if we lose in Auckland, that'll be 10 straight defeats the Wallabies have suffered to the All Blacks. And for all the things around World Rugby rankings, continuing this wave of momentum, of positive support for rugby, we need to beat New Zealand, and we've got to do it at least once in the next 2 tests. We need Will Skelton for that.
I would just say that I don't particularly believe that we have to have Will Skelton back to make sure we win that game in Perth.
Sure.
I would love to have him back. I think it would be fantastic. It would definitely give us an edge. But I don't think at the end of the day, if we lose at Eden Park, it's because we don't have Will Skelton. I think we're strong enough.
Well, as it stands at the moment,
Yeah.
the Bledisloe is still up for grabs because we haven't played yet the first test. And you know what else is up for grabs? The Rugby Championship. It is an absolute logjam on the ladder after four rounds of the Rugby Championship so far. Despite losing on the weekend to Argentina, we find Australia are on top of the table on 11 competition points. South Africa's big win over New Zealand has seen them leapfrog up to second. New Zealand dropped down to third, and Argentina in fourth. But everyone with 2 wins, 2 losses, and there's
so tight,
2 competition points between Australia and Argentina. In my memory, in recent times, the most competitive rugby championship we've ever seen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Since Argentina have been brought in, definitely.
Yeah, and literally any team can win it on any day. I think this round is going to be really, really interesting. Some big travel after 4 big weeks of the competition is going to be interesting to see how teams adapt with that. I love that the 2 games are at really major areas in the world as well. Obviously, Eden Park for the Wallabies and the All Blacks, but South Africa is going to be playing Argentina at Kings Park. And I did a little bit of a look back. The last time they played together was that crazy game in 23, 38-21. There were 6 yellow cards. Argentina gave away 22 penalties, went into extra time. Absolutely mammoth game between those 2 nations. So that could really become a huge game of the weekend as well, and round 5 of the Rugby Championship.
Yeah, I cannot wait for that. 2 huge weekends still to come in the Rugby Championship. Still to come also, we're going to have special guest Nick White, recently re-retired Nick White is going to join us as the build-up to the Bledisloe continues.